I hate romance. Well, that's not entirely true. I like Heartstopper, but books like The Love Hypothesis bore me. But for Valentine's Day, I have decided to torture myself. Enjoy.
I have disliked romance-specific books for a while. Of course, there are a few that I have enjoyed, but I have little to no justification for that other than I like pretty people. And of course I like romance as small side plots in books. I mean, what would comic be without the love triangle that isn't technically a love triangle? However, my dislike for romance comes from romance-heavy and cliched stories. Like, I don't know, the average show, or just the really bad named books. But for Valentine's Day, I have found 3 books that fit on this spectrum. I do want to note I've tried to get The Love Hypothesis, but it just did not come in time. So the books I do have: The Villain Boyfriend, Fame, Fate, and the First Kiss, and You, Me, and Bad Babies. Book 1, The Villain Boyfriend. The thing I love about this book's Goodreads page is that its overall rating is like 4 stars, but the top ratings are 1. Anyways, about the book. So our main character is Gia, and she is the hot, popular girl who has a boyfriend that is in college, which is just like a 17-year-old senior and a 21-year-old sophomore, but he breaks up with her right before going to prom, right in the middle of the parking lot. So she turns to her random guy to take Bradley's place, thus feeling Bradley was born, or chosen. Her friends had never seen Feeling Badly and barely believed he existed, which is the only reason why this worked. During prom, we are introduced to Gia's friend group, but honestly, I am not bothered enough to remember any of their names. Gia says to Feeling Badly that she's like the alpha of the pack, and Jules is threatening that position, which is a really weird way to describe people. And Feeling Badly's sister is at the prom, and she's kind of mad that Feeling Badly's there. All Gia's friends assume that Feeling Badly cheated on Gia, and thus Bradley and Gia break up. It turns out Feeling Badly's sister Beck has a class with Gia, in which Beck convinces Gia to go on a fake date with Feeling Badly to get back at Fib's ex-girlfriend. Gia agrees because she feels like she owes it. The next part of the book was really long and honestly quite a drag. All you really need to know is Fib's real name is Hayden. His ex-girlfriend is dating his ex-best friend. His best friend was and is a jerk to Gia and her friends. Gia's brother is a filmmaker and makes a film that makes Gia feel like he was mocking her. However, it helps her realize how self-obsessed and shallow she is. And Jules is trying to find the real Bradley because she hates Gia. Over time, Gia starts having feelings for Hayden, but her life seems completely messed up after her friends find out who the real Bradley is. Something, she and Hayden, something, they make up, they kiss, they get together, and Gia distances herself from her old friends. Yay! What a great ending. I have saved you 6 hours of the most shallow and annoying person ever. Book 2. Starting this book, I was really questioning why I had chosen it. It was another Casey West book, in which I am not the target for. But once it was in the script, I couldn't go back. And I will be completely honest, I forgot everyone's names. I had to go back and look up most of their names, like the main characters' names. So, our main character, Lacey Barnes, is an aspiring actor who got her first job and main role in an indie movie, which is based off of some zombie book. I forgot what it's called, but who cares? Anyway, she's having trouble finding chemistry with her co-star, Gabe or something. And since she's 17 and underage, she has to do school and live with her dad and stuff, but she refuses to do her schoolwork packet things. Thus, her father hires her a tutor Enter the love interest, Donovan. She does not like Donovan because he seems like a choir boy. I do not understand. Anywho, she does her packet, starts becoming friends with her co-stars, and is looking for chemistry with Gabe. Oh, and she doesn't like her dad because he's too overbearing. One of her co-stars, the girl one, we'll call her Abby, tells Lacey to find chemistry by imagining Gabe as someone she actually likes, to which she suggests Donnie. But, oh no, she can't like Donnie. He's too straight-laced, and such a choir boy. Sarcasm. That was sarcasm. Because guess what? She does like Donovan. And one day, she turns in one of her packets to find out Donovan works on the school newspaper, and apparently he wrote some mean review about one of Gabe's past movies, and she doesn't really seem to care, I guess. I don't know, something. Someone seems to be sabotaging her on set. A light gets knocked down, and an article about her comes out, and her face piece gets stolen. Stolen face piece? Obviously the makeup artist's fault. The director fires her. Lacey finds out her dad was dating the makeup lady, and then Lacey talks to the director's son, who tells her his dad got him a pity gift because they couldn't go on a trip to Europe. And then Gabe, Abby, Lacey, and Donnie are all looking for who's sabotaging Lacey. This last part really confused me. But turns out it was the director's son who was sabotaging the movie, because he was mad that his dad canceled their trip to Europe for the movie. Yeah. Oh, and also Lacey and Donovan got together somewhere in there. I don't know. It didn't make sense, but it was better than the last one.
Book number 3. I was genuinely excited to start the story because, look at that cover art. Much better than those photos Miss West uses. So, our main character is Avery, and they have been pen pals with a mysterious person who's been going by Kay on their note exchange. Avery had discovered a note in the library of a movie list. After they watched the movies, they left a review on the page, and Kay responded. Since then, Kay and Avery had been exchanging notes via some paper shoved in a library bookcase. Over time, Avery developed feelings for Kay, and the two were kind of flirting. Avery goes to their friends Max and Sophie for advice, and eventually the two exchange emails. And there's a couple of douchebags that I'll introduce to you now. Hudson and Case. Hudson and Avery dated for 8 months until Hudson cheated on Avery. Case is the school bully, whose main purpose is to throw off the reader into thinking that Kay is Case. Thank goodness he's not, because that was a major theory of Max and Sophie and mine. Instead, after Case and his friends steal Avery's phone, they discover who Kay is by sending an email. You see the dude on the bench beside Avery, his phone goes off, and turns out it's this guy named Sid. Sid is Kay. About a week before this, Kay said we should stop talking. You'd be disappointed if you knew who I was. And trust me, Avery was. Sid was the high school's known homewrecker. A couple years before, he had basically been manipulated into a relationship with a guy, but no one knows he was manipulated, who was openly dating a girl, and then he said some mean stuff to the girl. And then Hudson. Sid was the one Hudson had cheated on Avery with, which, well, really messed up Avery's love life. Sid later reveals he had known A was Avery for a while, which is why he tried to end things. As Avery is spiraling, Hudson shows up at their house and lets slip that Sid had no idea Avery and Hudson were dating. That makes Avery very excited, and they try to make up with Sid. They invite him to watch some bad movies at their house, and after watching some god-awful movies, they have a heart-to-heart that ends in kissing, as all good romances do. A week later, Sid sends an apology to the girl he made fun of in hopes of having total closure, and she forgives him. Oh, and he reveals that K was because they were in the K section. And honestly, this book was actually really good, with lots of pop culture references, and Avery's friends and sister were really fun. My conclusion of this is that romance as heavy plots isn't my favorite. However, having relatable and funny characters like in You, Me, and Bad Movies makes the story more enjoyable. Or maybe I'm just completely incapable of reading non-Creo Cheerio romances. Anyways, go read. Or watch Heartstopper.